the backstage.
Well, I would say welcome to the Concertgebouw. It was built in 1886 and the first concert took place in 1888, and we are very proud that we have two wonderful halls here in Amsterdam under one roof. Not only the main hall of 2,000 seats, but also the recital hall having 435 seats, and we are very proud to have this hall here in Amsterdam. Here you can see the paintings of the conductors of the Concertgebouw Orchestra. Not all of them were chef conductors of the orchestra, but a few were. This is, for instance, Organ Jochum. This was Ricardo Chailly. This is Ricardo Chailly, and he was the former chef conductor of the Royal Concertgebouw Orchestra. Here you can see a very famous portrait of Bernhard Haitink, who was the chef conductor of the Concertgebouw Orchestra for a very long time. He was the predecessor of Ricardo Chailly. Mahler was, together with Willem Engelberg, I think one of the most important persons in the history of the Concertgebouw. Willem Engelberg was a true ambassador for the music of Gustav Mahler. We are now at the entrance of the main hall of the Concertgebouw. I'm happy to show you in. I think it's one of the best halls for classical, especially symphonic music there is in the world. And the reason that we have this wonderful hall, and especially the great acoustics, is still a surprise and still a sort of wonder. It's a miracle. Because when the architect of this hall started to design this building, his name was Dolf van Gent, he never realized that the acoustics would have been this. And the funny thing is, of the shape of the hall, is that it's relatively broad, and that is because he made a mistake initially. He thought that the hall had to be longer and a little bit slimmer, but in the end it turned out that it had to be broader and shorter. And he just did it, and he never realized that it would have these wonderful acoustical effects. It looks as a rather intimate hall, but nevertheless there are nearly 2,000 seats, which is quite a lot. And special for this hall is that there are not only seats here and on the balcony, but also on the back side of the stage. There are also 300 seats, you can see them there. And for recitals, such as piano recitals, we can also add more chairs on the stage. So we have around 2,100, 2,200 seats in the hall. Well, we are extremely privileged to have such a wonderful resident orchestra, the Royal Concertgebouw Orchestra. And you should know that as from the very beginning that the Concertgebouw was built, they also started with the initiative to to have a new orchestra, because there was not a Concertgebouw orchestra before the building existed. We are very privileged to have such a good organ. It's a very good organ, and especially for the late 19th and early 20th century music, because there are many scores for the symphonic repertoire where an organ is required in a hall. So we're very lucky. It's a very special stairs, because there are many halls where you just enter the stage through a door. But in this hall you enter through this long staircase, more than 20 steps. It's a long way down, and it can be a long way up, when there is no longer applause and you are just halfway. And sometimes an artist that comes down might slip or just fall. It has happened in history that an artist fell down and lost his instrument, and but normally it goes very well. But as you French say, It's a grand entrée in the hall. We're now going to the choir hall. This hall was made also during the renovations in the late 80s of the last century. And initially it was meant just as a sort of huge dressing room and a rehearsal room for the choirs that were performing in the Concertgebouw. But ever since we thought, well, we can add some more functions to this hall. And so it had been renovated a few years ago, and now we use it also for children's concerts, for education concerts, for dinners, receptions, and that kind of things. So it has become a beautiful multifunctional hall, and it's very well suited also for jazz music. So we're now in the recital hall. The shape of this hall is of course entirely different. This is a sort of oval structure. And it looks very intimate, but nevertheless it has more than 430 seats, so that's quite a lot. And the acoustics of this hall are beautiful as well. So we're very privileged not to have one but two world-class halls under one roof. And we are very proud of that and very happy. We're now in the artists' foyer, which is the social heart of the Concertgebouw. This is where the musicians and the employees of the Concertgebouw meet. All the cooks are from outside the Netherlands. We have a German cook and a cook from Morocco and a cook from Turkey, so it's literally an international cuisine here, as we are. We have around 350 people working in the Concertgebouw. It's quite a lot, but we have between 700 and 800 events per year. You need that many people. Well, this is a completely climatized room where we have the two best pianos for the great hall, and we have 7 great D Steinways in the Concertgebouw, and 2 of them are specially prepared for the main hall. And those pianos are here in this completely climatized room. One of the funny things of this room is that when you enter this room, it happens regularly that there is a world-famous pianist rehearsing here on one of these pianos, either just to rehearse or to make a choice which of the 2 pianos he wants to use during his performance. The larger instruments of the Royal Concertgebouw Orchestra are stored here in the Concertgebouw. This is not the official storage room, this is just a public room used to store instruments for, well, just temporarily. Because we have days, for instance Sundays, that sometimes 3 and even sometimes 2 or 3 orchestras come on one day, playing in the morning, afternoon and during the evening. So we need quite a lot of space to make that possible. My biggest dream of the Concertgebouw is that it remains as relevant in the music scene in the Netherlands as it is now and as it has been, because it's a huge institute in the Netherlands and in the world. Biggest challenge is that we are able to cherish this artistic core of the Concertgebouw and to present it to the next generations, plural generations.
Mezzo Backstage.